I've been playing video games for as long as I can remember. I literally have pictures of me holding a controller before I could even walk. Controller was upside down, but that's besides the point. I've played a lot of video games in my life. So I'm going to do one of the hardest things possible, which is ranking my top 10 favorite games. And then you'll be able to judge me as a human or a gamer based on my games. I don't know. Will I read the comments of you judging me? Probably not, but judge away. This list encompasses some new favorites and some nostalgic favorites. Games I grew up with as a kid that I couldn't stop playing. The one rule, I can only pick one game per IP. I can't just list out all 5 mainline Animal Crossing games, I gotta pick just one. So with that out of the way, here's the list. Number 10, Fortnite. Just kidding. Coffee Talk is one of the few visual novel games I have really enjoyed. The lo-fi vibes, the coffee, all of it is perfect. The atmosphere is everything I need when I want to sit down and chill out for a minute. I can somehow get lost in this tiny world confined to just a coffee shop. Maybe my newfound love for visual novel games stems from my return to the world of books. In a day when movies and TV shows feel incredibly lame, repetitive, and overdone, I have found books to be one of the best ways to escape, and occasionally a nice video game. They're a way to enjoy a good story for once. Sure, Coffee Talk may not be as captivating or mind-blowing as maybe some other visual novels like Doki Doki Literature Club. That's a completely different vibe with a really cool game mechanic, but I'm old now. Sometimes I just want to relax instead of giving myself nightmares of dying anime girls. The game mechanics I want, making coffee, trying to discover what these people want to drink based on their personalities, their lives, their stories, their day. There's a challenge to the game while also not being incredibly mind-numbing. I can enjoy other people's lives or problems for a minute, and it's a great escape from reality, and a relaxing one at that. Not to mention, the story of Coffee Talk is fantastic. I really enjoyed it, and the fact that the end result of the game actually depends on how well you take care of your customers, it's just a wonderful time. Highly recommend. Platformers were the majority of my playtime as a kid, mostly because there weren't a ton of different genres back in the 90s, but Donkey Kong Country was there from the start. This is one of those picks where nostalgia plays a huge role in its position on the list, but the game itself is just quality. The graphics, the movement, the gameplay, they all still hold up today. Not many games from the past or the present can say that. Like Mario 64, an amazing game, but holy hell, the camera controls are absolute garbage. Donkey Kong Country is one of those games that is full of secrets and Easter eggs. It's a game that encourages and rewards you for exploring outside of the box, literally. There are secret entrances, hidden Kong letters, everything is a challenge, including the actual main element of the platforming. It's one of those skills where the more you do it, the quicker you learn and the better you become, which makes this one of the most satisfying game mechanics for me. The first game is still my favorite, though the sequel does come very close to being just as good. I'm a Dixie Kong lover through and through. The newer ones like Tropical Freeze are fine, but they don't hold their own next to the original. It was one of the first games I 100%ed, and as a result, I now feel like I have to 100% every game that I play all the time. Which I guess could either be a really cool way to play video games or just absolute torture. But it has clearly defined who I am as a gamer. Thank you, Donkey Kong Country, for forcing me to do this for the rest of my life. I played the crap out of the Roller Coaster Tycoon games, all of them. Spent way too many hours building in this sandbox game. This is one of those series where each game became better than the last. The new iterations included quality of life fixes, mechanic improvements, and just overall a more enjoyable experience with each release. Even something as simple as opening a balloon stand, picking the color of the balloon to sell, and then seeing all of your people running around with said balloons is something I didn't know I needed until I had it. And now it is required for me to enjoy the game. There are so many little ideas like this that just raise it to new levels. The new Planet Coaster games are fun, but they're definitely trying to constantly improve on the previous ideas, but Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 specifically still holds my heart. It's one of the few games from the past that I still load up to this day. I struggled where to put The Sims on this list. This series was an eye-opener that I needed to get into life sims. Without it, I'm not sure where my gamer heart would be, probably stuck playing platformers like Donkey Kong Country. This was the first game that introduced me to video game relationships. It was incredibly entertaining to make sims of my friends and enemies, and force them into whatever situation I desired that day. Full control over your life when you had no control over your real life. You take that ladder away from that pool, drown those sims, do whatever you want. It's your world. Or on the complete opposite end, I could create a world full of fake people and still have complete control over them. This game also introduced me to how bad I am at interior design. Baby Cora had no idea what she was doing. But again, it scratched that productivity itch. You could level up your sim by going to work, making them cook meals, peeing, the usual activities. This is where I was introduced to cheats. My friend's sister definitely removed the blur from The Sims whenever they took a shower. You're such a rebel. This is another example of the third game being my favorite in the series. Sims 4 is good, don't get me wrong, but it had a rough start. You remember that baby finger glitch? Yeah, I got that glitch. Turned me off from wanting to produce offspring forever. I don't need Edward Scissorhands as a child, and it feels like The Sims 4 is the epitome of EA's questionable selling practices. Not that The Sims 3 didn't also have crazy expensive expansions, but the base game was just good enough. The Sims will always hold a special place in my heart, no matter how much EA messes it up. This is a new addition to the list. I've played a lot of Palea over the last few years. It's been years. Between pre-alpha, alpha, early access, I don't know how many hours I have sunk into this game in total, and I'm kind of afraid to find out. But I keep coming back. Every time my account was wiped, I would restart and play the beginning of the game all over again. The fact that I watched this game grow up over time has definitely contributed to my love for it. I was watching this world go from polygons to beauty, and I got to experience the whole process in between. Is Palea perfect? No, far from it. But it's the cozy sim MMO that I've been waiting for. One of my biggest complaints with Animal Crossing is the lack of online interaction. Palea is well on its way to fixing this issue. The game takes my love for MMOs and sim games and throws them into an all-encompassing experience. And on top of that, it's still improving, being updated with new mechanics being added, live events, it's always something fun. This world feels so alive, so serene. Palea is one of those few games where I truly feel like I can escape to. I hope it keeps going in the direction that it is, and I don't want to see it become another title that disappears from my Steam library one day. I want Palea to have a long, incredible life, and I can't wait to experience all of it. Splatoon is one of those games that took a genre and completely turned it on its head. This series is a perfect example of Nintendo innovating successfully. They took a shooter, made it fun, satisfying, addicting. You can paint the walls, paint the floor, paint your friend, paint the enemy. Splatoon is easy to learn and fun to play. Constant live events makes you want to keep playing. There's a very solid community behind the game, and you feel like a part of a family. I'm not gonna lie, I have fallen out of Splatoon recently. I think I've just been putting way too many hours in it over way too many years. It's literally been almost 10 years, so maybe I just need to take a break. But I'd be lying if I said I didn't enjoy my time. I have thousands of hours in this series, and while Splatoon 3 was kind of my downfall from the game, it is by far the best one. Salmon Run is one of the best modes. Just fighting waves of enemies is somehow exhilarating. And the fact that I can do that whenever I want in Splatoon 3 that I couldn't do in Splatoon 2 makes 3 just that much better immediately. But I do think the best thing, at least for me, was all the people I met along the way. Splatoon is fine by yourself, but getting a group of people to hang out with is the reason why I played for as long as I did, and the reason why it's on this list. Mario Kart has some major nostalgia points for me. I've spent hundreds of hours, probably thousands, playing with my family, beating each other in time trials. It's one of the game series I grew up with. And while the Super Nintendo and N64 versions are probably the most familiar to me, my heart does lie with Mario Kart 8. Even though I bought the game and DLC on the Wii U, and then when it came out on Switch, I bought it again, I'm still not salty about it. Like, I actually enjoy the fact that I can play Mario Kart 8 on my Switch, and that I paid double for it, plus some. But Mario Kart is just that good and deserves to be bought twice. Not to mention the number of updates that Mario Kart 8 Deluxe has had over the last few years. It keeps this old IP fresh and interesting. This is another game where the secrets make your playthrough so much more interesting. There's always a new route to discover, and thanks to Mario Kart finally being online, you can discover these in real time with real players. While getting Mario Karted is probably the most obnoxious issue, it is part of the game. You could be the best driver in the world, but a couple of blue shells can throw you from way ahead in first place to last place. The threat of this happening to you is always apparent and makes every race such a risk, and the rush of doing that to someone else is just fantastic. I love that Mario Kart 8 started to expand past just the usual Mario characters. We aren't just racing as Toad and Bowser anymore. We've got Isabelle, Link, the Inkling, and the maps. They're so immersive. I about lost my mind when I was collecting rupees in the Zelda course instead of coins. There's something about Mario Kart that is always entertaining, always there to provide you with a good time. I've done enough videos on Stardew Valley I've pretty much said all I've needed to say about this game. It is so much more than a farm sim. It's an experience. It's a lifestyle at this point. You can play this game forever. And while I do need a game that does end eventually sometimes, I enjoy the fact that Stardew is always there for me to come back to. And unless you're 100%ing every time you start a new save file, there's always something to work towards. Not to mention, Concerned Ape just keeps updating the game and gives us more content to sink time into. Multiplayer really opened up this game for me. Now instead of sitting alone and tending to my farm 8 hours a day, I can play with other people and force them to tend to my farm for 8 hours a day. It has been a great way to introduce some of my favorite people to one of my favorite games. Even Drew enjoys a day in the Stardew Valley world every once in a while. And apparently the reoccurring theme that I have found I like in video games, the secrets. There are a lot of mechanics and hidden events that aren't immediately obvious to you until you start to explore around and discover them for yourself. Even though you may spend every morning watering your crops, nothing really feels repetitive. And then the mods. Oh, there are so many cool mods. Pretty much anything you can think of that you would want to do in a farm sim, somebody has made a mod for it. The dev is 100% on board with supporting these mod creators, which is a rare sight in today's gaming world, but a very welcome one. Stardew will always be a nice comfort for me, no matter how many times I find myself rushing home before 2 a.m. Before I get to my top 2, I wanted to quickly go over some honorable mentions. These are ones that probably don't really deserve to be on the list because of specific reasons, but were too close to my heart to not mention them. First up, Card Shop Sim. I love that I don't have to spend money on real cards to get my gambling card pack opening satisfaction. This game is doing everything for me right now. All the years in my retail have come in handy. I'm a beast at making change. And it just brings forward the nostalgia of opening Pokemon cards back in the 90s, so this one's kind of a nostalgia edition. But also, I really like opening card packs and getting rare cards. Plate Up. This is a way better Overcooked. There's something about opening a restaurant with friends and getting into a flow to deal with a completely overwhelmingly full restaurant that is so satisfying. And it's got the same vibes as Salmon Run, where it's just waves and waves of gameplay. Not to mention all of the automation and strategy that goes into trying to actually run a successful restaurant. Finally, The Illusion of Gaia. This one runs on nostalgia for me, but it was a pretty solid Super Nintendo game back in the day. It's your typical action-adventure RPG, but is full of magic, wonder, and a pig. It has strong Zelda vibes for a good reason. That was their whole marketing around the game, was that it was like Zelda. But it lets you explore this very serene, very monster-filled, extravagant world. While you travel to different areas, you actually feel like you're traveling to different areas. It's not just a similar-looking place over and over. You are exploring a world. The only reason it didn't make it into my top 10 was because I've never actually finished the game, and I feel like I can't really put a game in my top 10 if I don't know how it ends. I played it a lot as a kid, and it was hard. RPGs are hard when you're 5 years old. But it is on my list of games to finish eventually, along with dozens of others, but this one's like close to the top. Okay, now that the honorable mentions are out of the way, back to the list. I have grown up with the entire Legend of Zelda series. It was a staple in my house. Everyone from my brother to my mom to my grandmother was playing Zelda. It was always on the TV. I don't think I really need to explain the wonder and awe of running around this fairy world and why it's so enticing. The mechanics are always smooth, the dungeons are always challenging but satisfying, and Link is just classic. The hardest part of putting this on the list was trying to pick just one game out of the series that I liked the best. There are so many good ones. Even the short Game Boy style Zeldas hold a very fond place in my heart. The real challenge was trying to decide between Ocarina of Time and Breath of the Wild. Both have flaws, of course. Ocarina of Time is a bit old, mechanics a little outdated, but what an experience. Sheik being Zelda? That blew my 8-year-old mind. But the Redeads, man, those things, they haunt my nightmares. And then you have Breath of the Wild. This world is incredible. The first time I ran around, it was just unexplainable. Finding that rundown Lon Lon Ranch pulled at my heartstrings. I clocked 200 hours into this game within the first few weeks. I couldn't put it down. I took days off of work because my mind was completely enveloped into this game. However, its lack of standard Zelda dungeons is a weak point, as well as the fact that replaying the game for a second time comes nowhere close to experiencing it for the first time. The large world that was so interesting to explore originally becomes too big, too much, too boring. I end up running around to unlock the fast travels and only doing that because finding my way around otherwise just becomes a chore. And the final boss fight, while completely theatrical the first time around, is a bit easy and lackluster a second time. But I feel like most games fall into this issue. However, all of the innovative mechanics Nintendo created for Breath of the Wild were revolutionary. This game spawned so much inspiration for the gaming industry as a whole. It is the basis for many ideas and mechanics that other games now rely on, and nothing compares to stepping out into Breath of the Wild's version of Hyrule for the first time. I look back on those early days of playing so fondly. It was sincerely one of the most enjoyable experiences for me. I'm still waiting for a game to recreate that awe and that feeling that Breath of the Wild gave me the first time around, which is why I am giving the number 2 spot on this list to Breath of the Wild. I know, you weren't expecting Animal Crossing to be my top game of all time. It's shocking, nobody saw this coming. Animal Crossing has been in my life since I was 10 years old. My mom bought it for me for Christmas in 2002 before it was a household name. She thought the pictures on the back of the box looked cute and that I would probably enjoy it. Little did she know, my entire household would be addicted to this game series for the rest of our lives. Like Stardew, I've talked too much on this channel about all the reasons I love Animal Crossing. Besides nostalgia, of course. It's just the perfect game to get lost in for hours while also being incredibly productive, crossing off tasks and creating something beautiful. And each game gets better and better, between quality of life updates, new mechanics, and a community of people to garner inspiration from because the rest of us suck at interior decorating. I'm never bored with Animal Crossing. There's always something to do, mostly because this game is almost impossible to 100%. There are thousands of furniture items to collect, 413 villagers to best friend, an unlimited amount of playtime. This is the one game that has surpassed the number of hours that I have logged into Splatoon, and rightly so. But again, it's hard to pick just one. Why did I make this rule for myself? Nobody forced me into this. This was my choice. Most of the installments in the series, besides Amiibo Festival, are top quality choices. The original on the GameCube it's my favorite, but it's my favorite for nostalgic reasons. At the end of the day, it's pretty bare bones, especially compared to what we now have. But the original will always hold a special place in my heart that nothing will be able to overshadow. But of course, New Horizons is the best one. Far from perfect, obviously, there are so many mechanics that can be improved, but it definitely allows you the most gameplay and has the best mechanics by far. Between long-term Nook Mile goals, random challenges that you can put yourself through, I'm never bored. Hell, even villager hunting alone has added probably 1,000 hours of playtime for me. New Horizons is always there for me when I want it, and it happens to always be exactly what I need. And that's it. This is probably one of my longer videos in a while, but it's hard to explain why these games are my favorite. There's just so many reasons that go into it. Each one scratches a different itch, and I need them all in my life to have a full, encompassing game experience. I wouldn't be the gamer I am, or even the creator I am today, without any of them. Judge away. Which of these games just doesn't belong on a top 10 list? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you out in the gaming world. Bye.